What's going on, everybody? KSA Kris here. Good to see you. Real Estate Blitz. Want to talk today about something that just recently happened to me. And so here's what happened. I'm sitting there. I'm going to a meeting at our brokerage. You know, most brokerages have their monthly meeting. And you know, we get done. We run through everything. Hey, top award goes KSA, and we get all these awards and for producing and all this other stuff. And then after that gets done, the broker introduces a financial planner to the brokerage and decides to let the planner kick into this very elaborate financial planner pitch to you know, basically get more clients. And you know, at the end of the day, because I'm into investing and it's kind of my thing, I started asking a bunch of questions. I was chastised, like, you know, just be happy, and you know, the financial planners is here to protect us, and you know, you don't know what you're talking about, and you know, you should just be quiet and just give him your money. And you know, I refused to be quiet because, like, I was scared mostly for the agents that were there, because they're just like, oh, that tastes good, yeah, because I've never had anything and you told me this snake oil tastes good, so I'm going to try it. And they're just eating it up. And then at the end of it, you know, the financial planner came up to me, we started talking, and he wanted to schedule an appointment with me to basically talk about some of the things that I'm doing and how he can probably manage his own money. So let's talk about this real quick. The big one is, what I want to talk about today is don't get hustled by other salespeople, whether it's a financial planner or whatever else. But I'll talk about financial planning specifically. Now, I'm not saying financial planners are bad. I'm not saying financial planners are bad. I wasn't saying financial planners are bad at the meeting either. But what I'm saying is that be aware of what's happening to you, and understand the situation that you're in, and know how to deal with it. So first, you're in sales, right? If you're watching this, the odds are good that you're a real estate agent, you're a real estate broker. I have a lot of investors that watch this, and you're in sales. The job that you're in dictates that when you talk to people, it's a belly-to-belly business. You want to talk to as many people as possible, and you're trying to sell them a product, okay? When you talk to a financial planner, especially one that may show up at your brokerage, they're trying to sell you a product. They're going to show you all the bells and whistles, no different than a real estate agent. Well, you know, we do professional photography, blah, blah, blah. And you're usually talking to somebody that doesn't do real estate full time. They don't understand what's really going on, so it's easier for you. And I'm not saying you do this, because I know I don't. I just got off the phone and postponed a potential listing. She's ready to list right now, but the reality is it could probably hurt her to list her house. And here's the thing, she's ready to list. And I was very honest with her. I says, I want to list your house. I want to help you sell it. But I want to make sure you understand, which is why I had my accountant, you know, running some numbers for you. I'm going to have them along with a net sheet, along with our lender, so we can make sure that you're not going to lose the next house that you buy. Now, I could just smoke screen her and end up selling her house and say, well, you know what, she's going to buy with us too, and if she loses that house, that's her problem. But the reality is she knows that there's a challenge. And she knows that there's probably things she should be doing, but nobody's educated her, and she's basically going down a path that she doesn't know any better on. That's our job. That's all I was asking this financial planner to do. Don't smoke screen us, just tell us basic stuff. I'm seeing all the bells and whistles, great. I ask a simple question. What are the returns? Well, you know, the returns, that's not what you're looking for. It's really the retirement. And I says, no. So you're telling me you want to take our money, and this is the thing, and this is maybe a topic down the road. I have a big goal right now. I want to interview Grant Cardone, and he talks about this on occasion. The big scam that's out there. Put your money in the bank, put it into savings. That's a scam. There used to be a time when you would get a return from that. That doesn't exist now. Put your money into CDs. You'll make a killing. Put your money into this. Put your money into that. Diversify your portfolio. You'll make money. Put it into stock. The only people that win off of that is Wall Street. Now, will you get a return? Yes, you'll get a return. But you got to understand, what kind of investor are you? Now, here's the thing. If you don't want to think about your money and you're willing to just take a 3% or a 6% return, then great. Look, that's all I was asking this financial planner to explain. If you're good with not having to think, if you're good with locking up your money for an extended period of time, in order to get a very small return, or understand the market dips, if I lose $10,000 out of the $100,000 I have, It takes X amount of time to actually just come. Well, you came up. No, you didn't. You didn't even make up the money that you lost. So all I was asking is that he actually explain what are the returns, the basics. Allow people to understand that, look, what you're going to get if you come here is X returns, but you don't have to think. And realize that these returns aren't guaranteed, and over time, this is how it really works in the market, right? Which he wasn't doing. He kept, well, it's not about the returns. It is about the returns. Let me tell you why. I know if I take $100,000 and I put it into, I don't know, a buy and hold property, I'm looking for 1% on principal per month, which is relatively a 12% annual return. Net is ideal, right? I am protecting my money. Whatever money, the $100,000 I had, I put it into a specific asset. There's three things I'm going to get from that. Appreciation, depreciation, taxes, which is also making money. If I can save money, that's making money. There's only two ways to make money. Save it or make more. And then the third is cash flow. The trifecta is ideal. You're not always going to get the trifecta, but depending on what you're trying to accomplish, your age and your risk that you want to take, that's what you go after, right? Even if the market starts to adjust, depending on, well, now it's cash flow and depreciation. In fact, I would even say if you take that same model, you have it. So like me, I live in an expensive house. We'll just use round numbers here. $2 million house. If I use the same rundown on numbers, I'm going to take $2 million. And if I look at 1% per month on principal of $2 million, 1% of $2 million, right, is roughly, can anybody tell me? It's roughly $20,000. So I'm looking at making $20,000 a month. You can rent a $2 million home for about $8,000 a month. So if you have that money, why would you actually want to tie up into an asset that you're living in that actually is kind of losing you money, other than the write-off, but you can still have the same write-off? Not only that, but then you can leverage your money. You take the $2 million, you borrow $2 million at a 50%, right? So I put in 50, you put in 50 bank. You can get it at about, let's say 2.25 all the way up to about 3.5 points. If you're doing 1% per month on principal, you're getting a full 12% annually on 50% of your money. And then, you know, we'll just say 4% flat. So let's take off 2 plus 2 more. There we go. So that leaves us 8. You're getting 8% on the other 50% of the money that you borrowed. So the capital and the cash that's coming in, which is much more than what you had, will easily pay for your $2 million rental that you're getting, plus give you a cash flow, plus the depreciation for multiple properties, plus the appreciation, the potential appreciation in the market, and you hid your money in an asset. You protected it. So if I know I can do that, why would I want to deal with somebody that, A, won't tell me what the returns are, B, even if they do start to tell me the returns, says, well, you know, it could be anywhere from, you know, 6% to about 17%. Great. Show me the 17%. What is that? Is it risky? So you can't explain that. So what I'm getting at is, remember, if you sit down with somebody that's trying to pitch you an investment or investing your money, because here's the thing, if you're a real estate agent and you start doing really good at being a real estate agent, you're going to have chunk money. You're going to have this cash sitting here. You should absolutely be investing it. And I'm going to talk about this later this week. When should you start investing? When should you start investing as a real estate agent? We'll talk about it. I'm going to do another video probably right after this. But when you do start investing, the big one is don't get suckered. Don't get hooked. Don't drink the snake oil. Not saying everybody is bad. What I'm saying is ask questions. If you don't know, you do your own research. Where do you start? So that was a big one. I've talked about this before. Get into some investor club meetings. If you Google real estate investor meeting, you're going to find real estate investing. Any type of investing, you can find something for it. You can find content and information. Just realize that everybody almost along the way, they're in sales. They're going to be trying to make a buck off of you. They're going to try to tie up your money into something else so they can generate a profit for themselves. Because it says, well, you know, and if you do this one thing, it's liquid and, you know, you'll be able to get your money back. Great. So how do you get paid? Now that was the one that really pissed everybody off. Well, why should you ask that? Because, dude, I want to know. I'm giving you my money to make money. And if I'm hiring you to do this, I want to know how you're getting paid. I don't think that's awful. I know how, when I go to Albertsons, I know how the cashier's getting paid for me buying groceries. I just want to know how somebody's getting paid. That's an awful question? That's the devil? Come on now, that's my money. That's my money. I'm trying to make a return on my money, and you're making money off of my money, and supposedly you work for me. How do you get paid? What are the returns that you're getting? Is it a flat fee? Is it a management fee? Are you reinvesting my money and getting a percentage off my cash? Which if you look at, you know, different types of hedge funds or different types of trusts and different things like that, second trust deeds, things like that, that's how they make their money. They're going to make their money on points. So every time they lend your money, they're going to make 2.5 points or whatever if they're turning it every 3 months. Or they're going to give you an annual return, lock up your money for 12%. Hell, I'll give you 20%. But then they're turning your money every 3 months for 12%. So basically, they made a 50% return off your money. So it's so awful to ask. Think about that. And if they're going to be making money off of your money and you understand the numbers, then it's a matter of what's fair and what's right. At the end of the day, it's my freaking money. I want to make as much money as possible off of my money. That's investing. And if you don't understand how the money works, then of course you're going to get took. So like I said, beware. Beware. These people are hustlers, and just like us, we're hustlers, we're hustling, we're out there working, right? They're salespeople. So don't fall for the pitch, ask the questions, and this is the thing. I love it. Whenever I go and do a listing, I love working with a client that has a bunch of questions that did their own research. Some of that I may have to educate them. Well, Zillow says this. Hey, right on, man. I understand. I completely agree with you. Zillow did say this. Let me tell you about Zillow and how it may have skewed the numbers a little bit. Because have you met Zillow? Has he ever been to your house? Has Zillow looked at the condition of this place? Okay, so Zillow may not know the actual price of your home. But I'd rather work with somebody like that than somebody that's completely naive, because whenever I run into somebody that's naive, I told you before, the #1 rule in real estate as a real estate agent, people that are looking to buy or sell are going to work with the first or second agent they're exposed to. And the reality is if they're exposed to a garbage agent, not you, they need to be exposed to you. But if they're exposed to a garbage agent, they're going to get taken for the ride. Don't be one of them. Don't get taken for a ride. Research. Listen to what they're saying. Read their material. Look it over. Go out there and cross-qualify. Ask a bunch of questions. Write down more questions and schedule another appointment. If they start getting frustrated because you're asking a bunch of questions so you can make money on your money, for your money, and I say the same thing. A listing, I had a client calling, and then out of the blue says, you know what, you guys are so professional. I just want you to send me over contract. I'm going to let you list my house. But they asked a ton of questions, and I never got frustrated. You know why? Because that means I'm working with somebody that I can communicate with that genuinely wants to know because they're concerned about their own cash. And I've educated them so much that we should have no problems as we move forward in the transaction because I told them exactly what we do, how we do it, and where we stand when we work with a client. Ask questions. Be concerned about your cash. Don't get hustled. That's all I got today. Thank you very much. Like I said, KSA Kris, Real Estate Blitz. Do me a favor, like, share, comment. The podcast is coming out here pretty soon. I got a good buddy of mine. If you don't know who he is, look him up now. Michael Quarles is going to be coming out to San Diego. I called him up and says, hey, I want to interview for the podcast. He says, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a mini vacation, Kris. I'm going to come hang out with you. If you don't know who Michael Quarles is, he's one of the biggest people in the investments business. I mean, he owns multiple businesses. He's a heavy hitting investor. He was one of my first mentors in the investments business years ago. The guy is magic, so I'm looking forward to that. So like, share, comment. Check out the YouTube page. Check out the Facebook page. Pretty soon, I'm going to have the website up. So you can jump on there and watch all the videos. And I've been creating a bunch of ebooks. So all the stuff I'm talking about, just to give it to you. You want to know the step-by-step process for open houses? I'm literally going to have our step-by-step processes that we kill it with, just so you can have it and go out there and do it yourself. I'm on a mission to change the industry. It's starting right here on this video. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. KSA Kris, Real Estate Blitz. Talk to you all later.